Hello, and welcome to The Fool and the Philosopher.
The Philosopher and The Fool.
I'm Cameron.
And I'm Connor.
I was listening to the Simon's Peculiar Portions, and I got a lot to say about fighting animals, I realized. So I thought, did you see that at all?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, so a king cobra, right?
Yeah.
I think, the British people especially, but also the Americans, have no idea how to estimate what they could handle or not. And I think it's because... My theory is that it's because a lot of people are isolated from animals in general.
Yeah.
Especially British people. And I've actually seen someone... I don't remember who it was. I think it was Mr. Samuel Streamer. He's a YouTuber. Who he was saying, what do British people have in their Colosseum? We don't have any dangerous animals. Which I thought was a very ironic thing to say. Because the whole reason Britain doesn't have any dangerous animals is they were all put in the Colosseum and killed.
Or the wolves were all killed by their... shepherds.
Yeah. Well, the snakes were all killed.
They were driven out by what's-his-face?
Oh, St. Patrick, yeah. The wolves were all killed. The bears and lions were all put into the Colosseum.
Yeah.
And the moose were all hunted into extinction. And,
now they got goats.
And they might still have giant cats, which is kind of neat, but much less so than, lions and whatnot.
And the only dangerous animal they have left is adders.
And people.
Yeah.
And dogs.
I guess.
And...
hoons. They got foxes still.
And, I don't think foxes count as dangerous.
They've got rabbits in their warrens.
So anyways, going with, what people could fight or not, right?
Yeah.
So, a small dog, most people, I think, easily win that.
Yeah.
And they had cat. Way more people could beat it than said they could. Same with a rat. You can't lose a fight to a rat.
Have you seen a New York rat? Those things are huge.
No, they're not. Relative to a human...
Crop your leg, go for your throat.
A capybara is, bigger than a human, I guess, by weight, but in terms of actual...
They're not bigger than a human by weight.
Yeah, I think they weigh 200 pounds.
No, they don't.
I think they do.
No, they don't.
Well, look, I'm not Brazilian. Okay, fine, look it up, and I'll keep going. So, I think that, a person could take on, any rodent, basically. Now, I think some of...
Even a giant beaver?
Well, I talked to our mum about it, and she was saying, well, you can't fight a beaver. They killed a guy around here a couple years ago. And that's true, but that doesn't mean...
didn't it bite him right here in the artery?
Yeah, bit him in the... So what I said to our mum was, a beaver is big enough and strong enough that it can kill a person with a critical strike, right?
Yeah. Well, that's a 5% chance.
but a literal critical strike.
Yes.
Not the gaming term, but a literal critical strike.
35 to 66 kilograms.
Okay, so I was off by 50 pounds.
100 pounds.
No.
You're off by 100 pounds.
66 kilograms is
120.
No, it's not. It's 2.2 pounds to a kilogram. So it's 140.
Yeah, that's the maximum weight capybaras.
Yeah.
Most of them
I was off by 50 pounds.
Most of them are going to be in between that range.
I'm sure there's some bigger ones too. Anyways.
No, when those weight scales, that's the maximum to minimum range.
Okay, but I'm not that far off. 50 pounds off.
50 pounds is
a lot. 30%. No, yeah.
A 50-pound dog versus a 100-pound dog.
No, that's a 50-pound dog versus a 75-pound dog. Well, not even. It's a 50-pound dog versus a 65-pound dog. I'm not that far off.
And a 65-pound dog is a lot bigger.
Yeah, but it's... Anyways.
And 50 pounds is a lot more to deal with.
I think a person could beat a capybara in a fight.
Yes.
And I think they can beat... Small dog, I think they can beat a cat. What was next on the list? There was...
Goose.
A goose. Okay, so that whole goose snapping arm thing, I'm pretty sure is a myth. I looked it up a year ago or something.
Yeah.
And it didn't look like it's actually possible. There's just not enough sheer mass in a goose.
Well, also, their wings are delicate, so how could their wing hit you hard enough to...
Well, it's I think it might even be that, a goose is light enough that if you stuck one in a catapult and, launched it at a person, there's just not enough there. Although, I guess a frozen goose would probably do some damage if you... But that's frozen. That's different. Yeah. It's getting splashed in the face with water versus, a chunk of ice.
Yes.
Now, a swan, I don't know. Maybe a swan could break your arm. But even then, its wings probably going to break before your arm.
Yeah.
So the kangaroo is interesting because a kangaroo
can get you.
Well, the kangaroo and the wolf are both weird because those aren't animals.
There's bigger and smaller kangaroos, bigger and smaller wolves.
There's like 2 species of kangaroo at least.
Yeah.
And there's, 2 subspecies of kangaroo. And then wolves, there's a huge range.
Yeah, well, it's like, I could be a wolf at a fight, and then you, like, encounter a timber wolf.
Yeah. Well,
or it's like, I couldn't beat a wolf, and you encounter the Japanese wolf. For those that don't know, the Japanese wolf is about 1.5 feet tall, and maybe, like, 2 feet long. They're
like
tiny.
If I was in, I don't even know if they have wolves in like Texas, but if I was in Texas, I could probably beat a wolf, assuming they have wolves in that area.
Yeah.
But the further north you go, the bigger wolves get. And so if you say, could I beat a wolf around here? I would have less odds. But here's the thing. When you're fighting a wolf or a big dog, I think a big dog's actually scarier than a wolf, because big dogs are bigger.
Yeah.
Because wolves, there seems to be a weird, I don't know what happened, but like there was that, is he a football player, or is he an MMA fighter or something? He said, I could take a wolf. What's a wolf, like 220 pounds? And like, wolves are not giant dogs. They're medium dogs.
Yeah, 85 kilograms is the maximum weight of wolves up here.
I'd be surprised if it was that big.
That's like the biggest ones. Is 85.
Like, look that up too, actually. I'm curious. Because, like, how big's a timber wolf or a northern wolf or whatever they're called? Because, now, like a big dog, like a really big dog, can actually weigh like 250, 300 pounds.
80 kilograms.
Yeah, so
30 to 80 kilograms for wolves up timber.
Yeah, so a wolf is like a large capybara. And actually, like a normal-sized wolf is probably smaller than a large capybara. And
I mean, their legs are way longer. The mass is different. One of them's a walking nugget, and the other's a wolf.
Yeah, so a wolf is like fragile, whereas a capybara is like a tank. You can't.
No, it's a walking nugget.
So the thing, let's say you're fighting a wolf that's the same size as you.
Yeah,
that's a pretty scary animal. But the thing about, like, what are you fighting exactly? First,
a mouth that lunges.
Yeah, well, that was my one thought, right? Like claws, they have claws, but they're not great claws.
Yeah.
They've got a really great teeth. And
their jaws
very
are
strong
amazing.
jaws.
Like, if you get bitten, you're losing that bit.
Yeah, like very strong jaws, very good teeth. But when it says you're fighting a wolf, the scenario really matters. Because, first of all, a wolf, you have to determine the size. But we're saying benefit of the doubt, it's a large wolf. It's an 80-kilogram wolf.
Those are the largest.
So that's like
a large male wolf, for that matter.
So that's like about the size of you, maybe even slightly larger. And and then but then the thing is, wolves, if you've just grabbed like a random timber wolf out of the wild and you fight it, it's probably a cripple, because
lone wolves are nutcases.
Not lone wolves. I mean, like any wolf. Like, they did a study on wolves in the Yukon, and it was, I can't remember if it was 75% or 100%. Like, it's between 75 and 100% of wolves had at least one broken rib.
Yeah.
Like, most wolves are, or a rib that healed wrong or something.
Yeah.
Most wolves have broken bones or healed improperly bones because
they live really tough lives.
Yeah, and they hunt stuff way bigger than them. So wolves can live to 14-ish, like 12 to somewhere in there.
The record wolf is almost 20, but she's really old and lives in Yellowstone Park, which is really nice for wolves.
So you're basically, imagine a dog. They live basically the same length as a dog. But the average lifespan of a wolf is like 5 years.
Yeah.
Like 3 to 5 years. Wolves die very young. They have very hard lives. And so chances are, if you're fighting just a random wolf, it's already injured. And that already gives you a boost. Now, like you said, you're fighting a mouth, a very dangerous mouth.
Yeah.
But people are actually quite, like, I don't know if there's an animal that has a stronger punch, actually.
Gorillas.
I don't think they do. I think they can hit harder, but I don't.
Yeah, they have more mass behind their punch.
Yeah, I don't think they actually have a stronger punch. Like, people can throw harder than any animal.
Yeah.
Like chimpanzees, throw with something like the strength of a child, like a human child.
Well, that's the thing, as well, with that fight where the one guy's saying, like, you're unarmed.
Yeah.
I consider unarmed for a human, like, oh, we don't have claws or stuff, is a rock in our hand that we're throwing. That's like...
Well, that is another question.
Well, that's what I consider an unarmed human, is a human with a rock.
Well, no, I think no. Like, I think totally naked, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is...
Oh, my. Well, then the wolf would just go, ah!
A totally naked human isn't totally naked for very long.
Yeah.
Because that's just how we are. Mm-hmm. You're going to pick up a rock or a stick or whatever you can find immediately.
Yeah.
So are you fighting in a forest? Are you fighting in like just a concrete like cage?
It's a white square room.
And because that really matters.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you're fighting a white square room, the wolf would probably get super psyched out.
Well, the other thing is that I think needs to be taken into consideration. If you're in if there is exits, people are outside of maybe like the muscelids, I think they're called. Probably the most willing to take damage species out there. Like a bear will flee from a slight injury.
Yeah. Yes, the muscelids, I understand. I was like, what are those again? Oh, yes, weasels.
Like weasels, wolverines, badgers.
Honey badgers.
Badgers in general.
Yeah. And otters.
Yeah. I'm not sure if they...
Otters are muscelids.
Okay.
But they're also insane.
So those species tend to be... The reason they're small. So they tend to but they deal with stuff much bigger than them all the time.
Yeah.
Now, wolves... are another species that's willing to take a bit more of a punishment, obviously.
Yes.
But also, the thing that makes wolves effective is the same thing that makes people effective, is they're really smart. And they're very good at cooperation. So a single wolf is not nearly as big a threat as two wolves.
Yeah.
And outside of a wolf, that entire list, right? There is another feature that the terrain really matters.
Is there something to climb?
Well, that's huge, yeah. Even against a wolf. But a person can... Like, let's say you're fighting a alligator.
Yeah.
Because that was in the list, and there was a weirdly high number of people that thought they could beat it, in one sense. But on the other hand, there's no way an alligator could ever catch a person.
No, they burst attack. They go, whap, and then they're done.
But, like, a person just needs to hit it, run, hit it, run, hit it. Like, you just have to wound it so that it's bleeding, and then just avoid it until it dies.
Yeah.
A person's stamina is greater than nearly any animal on Earth. Not wolves. Wolves have the best.
Second best.
I think they might have the best.
Huskies have the best. Huskies are wolves on steroids.
Yeah, but okay, fair enough. But that is a wolf.
Yes.
Yeah.
A husky is an upgrade wolf in the SAMA department.
Yeah. Well, basically in every way, really, too.
Yes.
Like, I think...
Even size at times.
Yeah, and health. I mean, they're way healthier.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I think a husky is just a better wolf in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think... So the terrain matters hugely. But you can't run from a wolf. You have to fight it.
Yeah.
Now, wolves tend... An average human is probably not as good as fighting as an average wolf because the wolf has more experience.
Yeah.
But I think they'd both be out of their depth because a wolf is used to things running as well.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I don't know. I'd give that one like a 50-50, I think.
Well, given that wolves have the same weakness as dogs, there's two weaknesses of a wolf.
Right, so
and
you
same with a dog.
So apparently, I don't know if this is true, but if you grab a dog's front legs and pull them apart, you can actually tear its heart open.
Yes,
I don't know if that's true or not.
That is true. I looked up. It's a part of a vet's. It's a veterinary thing.
And I also don't know. So there's one thing to say you can do that, right?
Yeah.
A wolf is a fairly muscly creature compared to like a chihuahua.
Yes.
Are you strong enough to actually pull a wolf's?
Dogs have very, very, very weak structure along their belly.
Okay.
The other thing that's a part of that is because they're a mouth, a wolf will attack in a lunge.
Yeah.
And most things that wolves attack don't sidestep.
Yeah.
And that's the other big weakness. And
except other wolves.
No, wolves don't dodge by sidestepping.
You ever tried to kick a dog? Like they're quick. They can dodge. And before, no, I need to add to that statement.
Yeah.
Dogs were attacking my dog. I was defending a dog. Okay, I'm not just a dog kicker. There was a pack of dogs attacking my dog.
Yeah.
Okay. And the time I punched a dog it jumped on me, so it was self-defense. So I'm not an animal abuser. I have just fought animals. It's different.
I mean, to be fair, the dog I quote-unquote kicked was attached to my leg, and I was moving my leg quickly to
Well, that dog
detach
was
it.
attacking you. It was just pathetic.
Yes. But dogs really, really don't deal well with being in a chokehold.
Apparently,
Like,
I don't know if this is true.
Well, you know a Nelson?
Yeah.
Like how Nelson works on humans? Where you get one arm underneath the leg, back of the head, you get that one across the throat, and you just start pressing. A dog, like if you get your arms underneath their legs and then they start choking them, a dog can't get out of that.
So I don't know if this is true or not, but you saw that video of the kangaroo that had
Yeah.
the dog basically in a Nelson, right?
Yeah.
Apparently kangaroos will snap dogs' necks. Now,
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true or not, but that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing, so people can...
So I would give myself like a 60% chance of beating a wolf, a big one.
I would...
I'm confident in my ability as a fighter.
Yeah, and that might kill you.
Yes.
So I think I'm going to say that like a wolf 50-50 for like an average person, average biggish wolf maybe. I don't know. Yeah. Now the thing is about people...
So with the 60% chance of being the wolf, I'm going to say that there's a 40% chance that even though I beat it, it has mortally wounded me.
That's the other thing.
Because I might almost be willing, like if the situation I can't find it, because a wolf, this is police training, is if a dog's attacking you and you have no other option, you let it bite your arm.
Yeah.
And it will attempt to drag you down and destroy the limb it's gotten. And so while it's focused on your arm, you break its neck.
Well, that ties into what I was saying about how people are more willing to take damage than other animals. So if you're fighting, like if you fought a bear,
Yeah.
all you have to do is...
Hit its nose.
Well, now this isn't proper bear defense because you shouldn't try to fight a bear, you will lose.
Yeah.
However, if you have to fight a bear,
Okay,
well, like you said, hit in the nose.
Yeah.
But the thing is, a person can fight off a bear
Yeah.
not because they will win against a bear. Like if it was bloodlusted human, bloodlusted bear, the bear will win almost every time.
Yeah.
But a bear is not willing to be hurt. And so you punch a bear in the nose, it's like, no, this is I'm out of here.
Just do what that Wolverine did to the polar bear.
Well, yeah, Wolverines will beat bears in fights.
Wolverine killed a polar bear.
Okay, now that is something else.
The Wolverine latched onto its throat, and the bear couldn't detach it.
Jeez. Yeah, I don't know about that for a...
Just latch onto the bear's throat with your teeth.
The advantage a Wolverine has is they're like 3 feet long.
And they're also indestructible.
So, like, I'm surprised the bear couldn't, like, get it off, actually.
It was, like, grabbed on here and around his neck.
So,
And if you have an angry Wolverine attached to your neck, you might just be panicking instead of trying to get it off.
So yeah, people, very hard hitters, but, so a wolf has a bite. A person has punching and kicking and grabbing. And
a bear
biting.
has being able to open a car like it's a bag of chips. I mean, a bear has the ability to open a car like it's a bag of chips.
But some animals can kick way harder than people, of course.
Yeah.
So going on to...
Kangaroo?
Well, kangaroo, yeah. Kangaroo, so the one in the video
the
that...
short one.
The video where a guy fights a kangaroo. That's a small kangaroo.
Mm-hmm.
As in the smaller species, which are smaller than people. The big red kangaroos are, I think, slightly larger than people. They're like 6 feet tallish or something. And that's another thing where you could probably scare one off by just hurting it. But if you take it off, it can kill you very quickly because...
Well, I think kangaroos, like the big red ones, are also kind of like Aussies. Like they're a little... I'm actually saying they're a little nutty.
Yeah.
They have something wrong with their head.
But I think... so the question of how these fights are going on is very important.
Yeah.
Like, if you're fighting a bear, you will lose if it's like last one standing.
Yes.
Like, the odds of you winning are tiny. Lower than 1% of people that think they could win it.
It also depends on the bear.
But if you're fighting... Well, let's say a grizzly.
Okay.
You know, halfway between a polar bear and a black bear or something, you know.
Black bears are on the big ends of bears. We've got sun bears. We've got
Sloth bears.
sloth bears. We got little trash bears.
No, I think like a grizzly, I think, is what people think of when they think of a bear. And yeah, you're not going to win a fight against a grizzly.
I mean, at that point, it's how far apart do the two of you start?
Yeah,
Because you will be able to outrun a bear if you have enough distance to start with. Because they can't sprint you, but they can't endure you.
well, that's the thing, though. that is a fit person versus a fit bear. Like an average like I am terrible at running. I am awful at running, and I think most bears probably have way more practice. I don't think I could outrun a bear, no matter the distance. And bears also, like, you say they're better sprinters, but like they're very, very fast.
Yeah.
Like 40 kilometers an hour type thing.
No, 60.
Look at that. Bears can't go 60.
I'm pretty sure they go fast.
Yeah, 40 is fast. 60 is like a cheetah. Or a racehorse.
60 is 60 miles per hour is a cheetah.
Really?
Yes.
Holy cow.
But besides that, cheetahs suck.
Can cheetahs actually go 60 miles per hour?
Yes.
No way. Look that one up too.
Their speed of a polar bear is 40 kilometers per hour.
Okay, so I was right.
Yeah.
Of a polar bear.
Yeah.
Actually, polar bears look really awkward when they run.
Yeah, and then they hit you.
Yeah.
Cheetah.
That's gotta be kilometers.
Speed. Well, if we're going by kilometers per hour,
Yeah.
cheetahs run 80 to 130 kilometers an hour.
Wow. Okay, so they do go over 60 miles potentially. That's crazy.
Yes.
Wow.
Hippos go 48 kilometers an hour?
Wow. That's another thing you're not going to win a fight against.
Never. Like, there's not actually a scenario you can win if you're unarmed.
Well, I've been thinking about that, right? I'll get to that with the elephant. Because I think there is a scenario where you can beat a hippo and an elephant.
What, do you start biting it?
I'll get to it. So then, going on to big dogs, right?
Yeah.
Now that's one where, like, people had way lower on wolf than on big dog. I think your odds against a big dog are actually significantly lower. Because, like, I've had St. Bernards jump on me. And there's not really anything you can do. Like, they're just
avoid the jump.
Yeah, but they're so large.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even have the strength to get your arms free from... Like, they're massive. And St. Bernards aren't even the biggest of big dogs. But, yeah, like, if they get on you, you're dead.
Yeah.
So your only chance is to...
Dodge them and get on top of them and choke them out.
Like, if a wolf jumps on you... Well, even that's hard. But, like, a medium dog jumps on you, you can wrestle them off.
Yeah.
A wolf, you have a chance, but it's low. But, like, a big dog, you don't have a chance.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, so big dog, hard as well. And that's the other thing. What is the condition of this fight? Because that takes us to the viper, right?
Yeah.
The king cobra. Sorry, not the viper. And the thing about a king cobra is, I think most people, like let's say 80% of people, could kill a king cobra with their bare hands.
Yes, it just would bite you.
But if it bites you, you're dead. So, like, eventually dead.
Mm-hmm.
So that becomes a question of... because I think they're under 10 feet long. I could be wrong there, but I don't think they're like...
Well, it's a king cobra. Those are the bigger ones.
Yeah. I think like a normal cobra is only a couple feet long.
They can go like 12 miles per hour.
The speed... I don't think speed matters as much here as reflexes. And there's not many animals with faster reflexes than people. There's like cats and dogs, actually. I didn't know that. Dogs have like amazing reflexes. I don't think a snake...
10 to 12 feet is a king cobra.
Okay. Well, that's big. But they're also not, like, you know... That is terrifying, actually. How much do they weigh, though? Like, they probably don't weigh that much.
They can reach 18 feet.
Okay, well, let's not fight like the...
Like the king of the king cobras?
If we're fighting an 18-foot snake, then Thor Bjornsson gets to fight it. Like, right? Like, we can't just take the crazy, like...
13 pounds.
Yeah. Wow, that is actually amazing. I'm surprised they don't float.
So, literally, you grab them by the tail
and you just bash them back and forth.
You do a hammer throw. You just spin.
I don't think you could spin them fast enough to... Because snakes have very good core strength. So I think they could probably get you still.
Well, if you're a hammer thrower, you might be able to spin it fast enough.
Or just like spin it like a lariat.
Yeah, but probably the just thwack, thwack, thwack.
Yeah. Or I think your best odds of getting out unscathed
is stomp on.
Would be really scary, but you wait for it to strike, and then you reach past its head and grab it around the neck, and then there's nothing it can do.
Or is there a stick nearby? Because a human with a stick is a snake's worst nightmare.
Yeah. But if we have to stay like unarmed for some reason, then
Yeah.
I think like if you catch it just after it strikes,
Yeah.
then it's helpless basically. However, that's like putting everything on the line for your like a reflexive movement against something that specializes in like.
Yeah, but human reflexes are different because humans have something better than reflexes.
Well, yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, I'm curious how people compare to dogs actually, because your human brains don't actually function fast enough to account for throwing.
Yeah.
Like throwing,
a lot of reflex things like we don't count fast enough.
like throwing isn't. Fighting games actually are another great example. It takes a person about 14 frames, I think it is, to react to something, and yet 14 frame moves are considered medium to like Captain Falcon's punch.
Yeah.
Is unreactable, or it's like 2 or 3 frames away from being unreactable to a human reflexes.
Yeah.
And that's considered to be a very slow move. But we, once you see the visuals of it, if you roll past it, I think. Yeah, so if you roll past Captain Falcon's punch, then it's unreactable.
Yeah.
I think his actual punch you can react to, because his whole thing's like 30 frames or something. But we know what's going to happen ahead of time because of what our opponent has done and has available to them. And so we can react to things within like 2, 3, 4 frames in a fighting game. And in real life, it's similar. We can react within...
Well, just on the fact of the Cobra, actually humans have to be naked, because if I was fighting a Cobra in a big room and I was wearing my clothes, I would take off my pants and turn them into a weapon, or my shirt. Like, I'd use that to help me fight.
Yeah. But of course, that's also high risk, high reward. Because if the Cobra kills you...
Then you're dead without pants.
Yeah, then you're dead and you don't have pants on.
Yeah.
So, you know, the Cobra... But I think, like, if you just go...
But, like, with the Cobra, like, it weighs 18 pounds. Literally tie my pants, turn my pants into a club.
Yeah.
That'd probably be enough to stun the thing.
Or... The thing is, it really depends on the circumstances here.
Yeah.
Because anyone could kill a king cobra, basically, by...
Yeah.
Let it bite you, and then...
bite it back!
Well, then just grab it and tear it in half.
Yeah.
Like, there's...
Or step on it.
Yeah, or step on it, or jump on it, or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it's probably actually too strong to tear in half. But you could do some serious damage just by pulling, I imagine.
Yeah. But I think the step would
Or
probably...
if you step on its tail and grab its middle, and then you just kind of stand up. Like, that'd tear it in half.
I don't think you need to, like, get just a step. Like, it's dead with a step.
And you want to keep your back straight for that. You don't want to, like, pull it...
I think a step's just enough.
Yeah. Yeah, if they only weigh like 13 pounds. Jeez.
Yeah.
I thought they would have weighed like 50 or something at least.
That's a python.
No, those things weigh over 100 pounds. Those are massive.
Yeah. Well, I mean, pythons just keep getting bigger, so...
Now, python would be...
a very dangerous fight.
Yeah, that'd be interesting, because... Now, against a python, it's a weapon that isn't useful against most of these things, but your teeth would actually help a lot against the python, probably.
I think... Actually, the python, I think biting it in the back of the neck.
Yeah. Or just anywhere.
Yeah.
You just want to weaken it, basically. So it doesn't...
Well,
although they have, like, decent teeth themselves, actually, I think.
But a human's bite is not to be underestimated in pounds per square inch.
Plus, apparently we've got pretty nasty, like, bacteria, so
Yeah.
that thing could get, like, sick and die, like, weeks later.
Yeah.
With, like, a trans-species flu. It's like, aha, well, little do you know, my cold is one of the rare ones that can jump from human to snakes. So you're in trouble, buddy. You're going to have sniffles for a week.
Yeah.
But cholera, I think, is fairly... Actually, probably not. I don't know. Yeah, so I think a king cobra, a person can kill a king cobra. Now, I suppose if it is who would you beat in a fight...
Yeah.
Well, who could you win a fight against and who could you beat in a fight are two different questions.
Yeah.
I think a person could beat a king cobra in a fight.
Yeah.
I think it would be like 40% of the time you'd win.
Yeah, and then...
Because otherwise, I think it just bites you and you die after you tear it in half or whatever you do.
Yeah.
Going on to the eagle. Now, this one's interesting because I would have thought a person easily beats an eagle. But then I saw some pictures on screen of that podcast of, I think it's a harrier eagle or harriet, whatever they're called.
Yeah.
The biggest eagles on Earth. And
those things that pick up goats and drop them?
Well, I didn't realize that they're like the size of people. Like, I didn't know birds got that big. Like, still today. Like, I know, of course, like, there was the,
Thunderbirds?
Thunderbirds or whatever they were called, and
Axebirds.
Yeah, ostriches and the terror birds.
And those things that have like the most terrifying beak clacking noise in the world. They sound like
shoebills.
Yeah, they sound like a machine gun. Like those things look huge.
Yeah, they're big. But I mean like a flying bird.
Yeah.
I don't think flying birds got that big except for like the
birds that go woo 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 and then they're gone.
Yeah, storks.
Whooping
Whooping cranes.
Whooping crane, yeah.
Yeah, so I guess and swans. Okay, so birds get big. Albatross is also massive.
Yeah.
Condors. Okay, so I guess I knew birds got big, but it's one thing to know a bird is like 12 feet long, and then another to see that next to a person.
Yeah.
Because normally they're little specks in the sky.
Yeah.
Actually, even ravens, like when a raven gets close to you, they have like a 4-ish foot wingspan.
Mm.
You're like, oh, this thing's like half the size of me. Like,
Yeah.
like you're like
those greasy buggers starts hopping towards you and giving you the eye. You're like, he's going to stop hopping towards me, and that does. But it's like can be worrying if they're giving you that side eye and they keep on hopping. It's like what's it planning?
But you normally see a raven and you think like, oh yeah, it's like a parrot or something you could have on your shoulder. But they're like twice the size.
Yeah, a raven on your shoulder would give you a lopsided stance.
I don't think they're very heavy, but they're big. So that's it. Like an eagle doesn't have mass, right?
Yeah.
But unlike a wolf, it actually has very, very good claws.
Yes.
They're talons. And apparently the like Scythians or Russians or Mongolians or something would use eagles to hunt wolves. So I'm actually not confident in this one. As in, my first reaction would be most people would win. But I don't actually know now knowing that they can hunt wolves.
Well, I think it would give you a lot. If it got into your face, you would be in trouble.
That's a big
Your
thing.
face and your neck, you'd be in a lot of trouble. And like after the fight, right?
Yeah.
So you have the fight with it. After the fight, you get immediately like your arms wrapped up because I think you could beat them, but the amount of bleeding and lacerations you get would be very, very bad.
You have to like catch it. That'd be the big thing, right? Or if you're not allowed to fly, the eagle's not allowed to fly. That's a fight I could win.
Well, like you're saying about punches, right?
Yeah.
Like if it's flying, you just time the punch and you punch the bird.
Yeah, but they're fast and I don't know how smart an eagle is, but you think they would kind of be like, I got a blind side and like don't do a false swoop and
humans punch very fast.
Yeah, but if you're looking the other direction,
yeah,
because it's hard to see a little bird and then it flies down at you at like 100 kilometers an hour and you're just like,
well, people, and again, the thing, people can see stuff coming.
Who do you think would win, right? So a person sitting in a chair, right, versus a peregrine falcon.
I think a peregrine falcon could win.
So the peregrine falcon's not allowed to like cut their jugular or anything. No. They're just allowed to punch them in the head. And it's like, okay, who's stronger?
I think both would actually lose. I think the peregrine falcon's arms would shatter.
Like the entire bodily integrity of a peregrine falcon versus a human skull.
I think the peregrine falcon would shatter. Although, so here's the thing. Peregrine falcons take out mountain goats.
Mm.
And those things...
But that's like more of a balance thing, right?
No, they take them out by punching them in the head.
Oh.
And mountain goats hit each other in the head.
Yeah, okay.
So this is the balancing. So they punch in the head and then they send it off the cliff because they punched in the head.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or they hit in the rib cage and they break his ribs.
But like, you just sit there and it just like... And then there's like a little peregrine head sticking out of your skull.
Peregrine falcons also kill eagles.
It's just like standing on your...
Peregrine falcons hunt golden eagles and they hunt bald eagles.
Well, that like birds are fragile like that.
Yeah, well, I've seen footage of it. So there was an eagle flying, and the photographer was just like catching the eagle flying. And then it just exploded into feathers. And then a peregrine falcon, like sort of dazedly flew about. Then it landed and started eating the eagle.
I'd actually be more impressed if a peregrine falcon hunted like a chicken, because chickens are much like sturdier birds.
Yeah.
Right? Well, actually, I don't know. Eagles are pretty like a turkey, maybe.
I think the thing with the chicken and the turkey is they have to like get the angle right.
Yeah. Knock its head off and then it like comes at you.
I'm more just thinking so the peregrine falcon doesn't smear itself across the ground. Because peregrine falcons hunt pigeons, but they usually do all the pigeons in the air.
Yeah, so eagle, I actually have no idea how a person would do. But I think it would probably be similar to the viper where you'd probably win but come away pretty badly injured.
Yeah.
Especially if it blinds you or something, that would suck. Because they've got, like, most eagles, and it also really depends on the eagle, but, like, we'll say the biggest eagle there is.
Yeah.
Which is, I forget its name, but like nasty beaks, nasty claws, probably bite your fingers off, and like it wouldn't be good. So kangaroo, I think kangaroo wins most of the time, but I'd give people like 20% chance, like against the biggest kangaroos.
Well, it depends if you can get in a chokehold. Suplex the kangaroo.
Yeah, I don't like. People are fairly balanced in their weight distribution.
Yeah.
Especially men. Like, men are kind of, like, top-heavy almost. Yeah. But, like...
You just have to get around behind the kangaroo and choke out. Like, it's not going to do anything with the
but
arms.
I'm talking about a suplex. Like,
oh, yeah.
I don't think you could suplex a kangaroo. There's, like, nothing to hold on
They're
to.
a triangle.
And then there's a bunch of weight on the bottom.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really see it working. You just kind of, like, bend. Like,
yeah, I think the Nelson or a chokeout.
A kangaroo, I have like no experience with though. I'm not an Australian. I mean, I don't tangle with them outside in the didgeridoo or whatever. So, yeah, crikeys on that one.
Well, our teacher, this is different because people are armed with a knife and a jeep.
Yeah, I think once you have a knife, your chances go way up.
He
against most of the list.
He went on a ride along with some Australians. What they did is they had blue heelers, and they sent the blue heelers after hogs, and the blue heelers chased the hogs, and so the hogs or boars, I'm not really sure, would get scared and run. Then they would drive a jeep next to the hog, and then one of the guys with a knife would jump out of the jeep, land on the hog's back, and slit its throat, and that's how they had fun hunting hogs.
That's crazy.
Yes. That was the outback.
Yeah.
But that's how they'd hunt them.
Yeah, so I'm going to give the kangaroo a, 20% chance, let's say.
Alright.
Now, going on to the one where there was, 7% of Americans were saying they could beat these things. I think we're through the main part of the list. It's just the last, 4 or so that were...
Yeah.
impossible to kill, and there's 8% of Americans thinking they could beat them unarmed, and then 1 to 2%.
Well, could Thor Bjornsson fight a black bear?
Maybe. Actually, I'd give him maybe there. Yeah. But he's not British or American, so he's not allowed to. He's not answering the survey. Is he?
He's a Viking,
and there's not how many. If they asked 100 people, then sure, there could be 1% of people could beat a bear in a fair fight. But well, I don't know how big the survey was. Who knows? Okay, so a bear. I think people actually have a chance against a bear. Very small, and it depends on the bear.
Yes.
1% maybe? I don't know. That one wasn't the most unreasonable one to me.
It was the elephant.
The elephant and the alligator, was it? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, the elephant and the alligator and the lion. Okay, so lions I think are actually smaller than bears, but I could be wrong. Okay.
Bears are huge.
Yeah. Well, it depends on the bear.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But just weight distribution. Cats, even big cats, unless we're talking tigers, body is nothing like a bear's.
Yeah. Well, that's... Oh, and gorilla as well. That was another one. Okay. So a bear, 1% chance to beat a... The thing is, I'm thinking of instances where people... I'm not versed in this very well, but where people have fought bears and chased them off.
Yeah.
That happens.
Yes. And those people get really hurt.
And I think it even probably happens, let's say, half the time.
Well, that's even that bear attacks book, which is terrifying. Those guys getting attacked by a black bear, getting attacked by a brown bear. They fight back because that's what people do. And they can fight back enough for the bear to go, okay, this is no longer worth it. Even when it's a crazed bear that's I'm going to attack you, they can fight them off. Yeah.
So I'm giving that, to make a bear want to leave, I give you, a 20 to 50% chance.
Yeah.
But if it was just a no holds barred, you have to go until one of you's dead.
Or no holds bar.
I don't actually... Yeah. Like a grizzly, let's say. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure how you could hurt a grizzly.
Bite on the neck.
I don't even think that would... Because they've got, really... They're called grizzlies because they've got really long fur, right? They're great big...
Yeah, So... right. So in my Nike scenario, right?
Okay, before you continue.
Yeah. What
is a grizzly known for? What's the difference between a grizzly and a black bear?
The really big hump on his neck and the muscles all around there.
Yeah, it's very muscular neck.
Well, that's the back of their neck.
Right.
So, my dream scenario for killing a grizzly, and you're killing it, right?
Yeah.
Is somehow you're draped around its head, like you're around back and neck, like Gollum.
So it can't crush you with its arms.
Oh yeah, they can do that, can't they? So you're around the back of its neck.
Yeah.
And you're like at the side.
Yeah.
And you've torn away enough fur with your teeth and hands that you've gone down the skin, and you just start going like, you start gnawing. You like bite, tear, bite, tear, bite,
and it's
tear.
not like rearing up on its back legs to throw you off.
Well, though it is rearing up on its back legs, but you're holding on. You're latched in place. You're riding its fur. You're
bashing you against it, or running through trees and just trying to knock you off.
We're in an open plain.
Okay.
And it's not rolling or anything. No, even when it's rolling, like you're swirling around it. You're like crawling and biting and clicking onto it.
If it hits you once, you're dead.
And you've gone for it. You've taken out its eyes because in all these situations, humans are really, really good at removing animals' eyes.
Oh, I guess. Yeah.
No, we are. Like that's in one of the bear attacks, they had to hunt down the bear afterwards because the guy had removed his eyes with his thumbs.
Yeah.
So there's a blind bear at that point. That's when it ran, as he removed his eyes.
So I'm not going to say people specialize in removing eyes. Rather, people
can recognize there's eyes and they can get at them.
And we've got fingers
and thumbs.
That we can highly control. So
yeah.
So
you need your fingers on. You just bite them.
So similar to an eagle, we have
acute vision.
We have accuracy with a small thing.
Yeah.
So we can, like a snake or a wolf, they might have really, really fast. Like let's say a wolf or a dog, they might have really, really good reflexes, but the thing they're hitting you with is so large they can't really choose to hit your eye or just your face in general.
Actually, that's the thing about cats, is cats have like no range of vision right in front of their face.
Right.
And that's usually when they're attacking, so like when their eyes go really big.
Yeah.
And that's because they're trying to see the thing right in front of them.
So your bear scenario.
Yeah.
You're draped around its neck, you're biting at it.
Yeah.
Okay. Play that out like 100 times. Do you win one of them?
I'd say maybe one if you're so in fighting, there's a type of person. They're called like pythons, and they're really good at grappling and basically they keep changing positions and like you brace, they change position, you brace, they change position, they crawl all over their opponents. Like
so if you're highly skilled, there's a 1% chance you win.
Yes, by doing that.
So what percentage of the population is highly skilled? Is it 100%?
No.
Okay, so I think it's less than 1 in 100.
Yes.
And the Americans were saying 8 of them, which is crazy.
Bleeding it to right. Other scenario, you bleed to death. But no.
Okay. So then the next.
Well, actually, I wonder. Bleeding to death this way is there enough blood that you could send out of its face by breaking its nose?
I doubt it. That seems crazy. I don't think so, and especially not in any time frame that makes you live.
Yeah.
Okay, so a gorilla.
A human has never been killed by a gorilla.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, so human win 100% of the time. Easy. Okay, so now gorillas, kind of like wolves, or maybe kind of like people, can vary vastly in size, like up to 500 pounds. And if you're fighting a 500-pound gorilla, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
Like, unlike all these other animals, they actually have longer arms than people.
And so...
Like, even kangaroos, they have short arms.
Gorillas are the strongest primate. So, orangutans, but gorillas are not the most aggressive. Gorillas will false charge, they'll hoot.
But this is a fight.
There's a fight. So, I'm getting there. Orangutans are highly aggressive apes, and in watching battles, like they will go to war with each other's groups, they can actually tear each other in half. And gorillas are stronger.
Gorillas are stupidly strong.
Yeah.
Like they can lift like 3 times. No, 8 times their weight or something.
Yeah.
Like that's ridiculous. And
gorillas also have vision similar to humans.
And I think a huge thing here is you're talking about you can go for the eyes and all these things. Yeah. That's because people have really long arms compared to their bodies. Like kangaroos, they're 2-legged animals, but their arms are fairly short.
Yeah.
Like Tyrannosaurus, fairly short. Gorillas have longer arms.
Yes.
Like, not quite like an orangutan, but still. They have very long arms. So you try to go for its eyes, it just reaches out and like crushes your hand or something. Like it
Crushes your skull.
No, it's blocking your hand.
No, I'm saying you're going for his eyes. It reaches out, and before you can even get to his eyes, his hands around your head, and it can just squeeze.
So okay, if you're like, let's say you're like a master martial artist, right?
Yeah.
Does that matter?
Maybe you could break its neck?
Well, no, I think you'd have to like pummel it into submission somehow. Like, I don't think you could break it. But like, okay, why is a martial artist better than a non-martial artist in a fight? Because they can avoid hits and hit you where it counts.
Yeah.
So, first of all, does a gorilla have a weak spot? I'm not sure. I suppose...
I have trained for 20 years in the art of fighting gorillas. There's a reason why no gorilla has ever killed a person, and it's me.
Yeah, that's like the knowledge a person of a gorilla, that a person would have knowledge of a gorilla is quite low. Now that there is a factor here, so there is something to be considered depending on how these fights go, which I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's all animals are like this or if it's just when they interact with people.
Yeah.
Like it could be all animals, or maybe it's just with primates, because primates seem to be pretty good at this. But so do like cetaceans to a degree. But primates seem to be able to get other animals to trust them.
Yeah.
So there is a degree to this of, in theory, against a gorilla.
You could just go, let's not fight.
Well, you could be like, whoa, and like, calm down. And it's like, okay. And then you come over and you like do the Tarzan thing, you touch its hand, and then you're like, yeah. And then you like,
wow, sucker punch.
Well, you wait until it's sleeping. And then you just like stab it in the throat with your like, I don't know, you jump on it with your toes or something in the throat. Like, that is a possible way to...
You suplex it.
Yeah. This tiny little legs.
So Hulk Hogan,
Yeah.
when he fought Andre the Giant,
Yeah.
he picked up Andre the Giant, span around a circle, and then did a backdrop of him, so he threw him behind him. So you just pick up the gorilla, spin around in a circle.
Yeah. Step 1, be as strong as Hulk Hogan.
Yes.
Step 2, fight small gorilla.
Yes.
Step 3, hope that wrestling is real and that actually kills someone. Yes.
The gorilla can't break kayfabe.
So let's say you're like really good. You're dodging everything the gorilla has. Yeah. You're putting in some punches.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll give that a maybe.
Okay.
I'll give that like 1% of people. I'd say like 1 in 1,000.
1 of 1%.
Like how many people are like martial artists? Like 1 in 5 maybe? 1 in 10? Something like that.
Way lower.
I don't think so. Like, I seem to know a lot of people that have at least some martial arts.
You know a lot of people with martial arts because you know people our dad knows.
No, but like, I mean, like, random people I meet, they've just like, when they were a kid, they did martial arts for like 3 years or something.
Yeah.
Like, it seems to be fairly common. Okay. Actually, like, I'm probably one of the few people I know that hasn't done martial arts more. So I'd say like 50% of people probably have some martial arts experience.
Just my experience from going to university in Alberta, a huge amount of people had none whatsoever.
I also, like, I noticed...
Like, it might... Like, literally, you associate with people who are like the people you associate.
Yeah, well, I actually did notice that, like, my elementary school is an outlier, so I can... But my high school, even, the people in my year, and even in the years surrounding me, at one point, I don't think they would be unusual, but it seems like... Nowadays, I probably went to high school with more fit than average people.
Yes.
Now, I think like 50 years ago, that wouldn't have been the case.
Yeah.
But when I started interacting with people from other schools, when I went to college and university, they were suddenly a lot less physically capable and even in like, I don't know, self-preservation capable, like lower reflexes, lower stamina, not able to light fires, not able to
example that I found surprising, and so
keep themselves warm, dress properly.
Went on a walk in my arts class. So this was art students, so maybe it skews it slightly because they're art students. But we're going for a walk throughout the campus looking at a bunch of trees. And the teacher basically told everyone just like, we're going to relax here in this spot for a bit. Like, lie back, do whatever. Like, just get relaxed. And so, as we all sat down, I jumped up, grabbed a tree branch, and climbed up a tree and sat in it.
Yeah.
And people were surprised how easily I could climb a tree. And that's like a feat most of my friends can do, is climb a tree that fast.
Yeah. Yeah, so it really... I guess that would really skew it depending on where you were in the world. And like, if you're in China, it's like 100% of the population is martial artists.
Yeah.
If you're in Japan, it's also very high, but it's not mandatory. So, like in China, it's actually mandatory to learn martial arts. Mm-hmm. So it's still fairly high. Like someplace like Scandinavia or the
Brazil.
Well, in Brazil it's illegal. But I was thinking like Scandinavia, military service is mandatory. So they probably have martial training of some sort there.
Yeah.
And then like Poland and like Turkey and like there's a lot of countries that have mandatory service.
Yeah.
So I would say there's probably a decent number of martial artists out there. Mm-hmm. And then how many of them actually become good? Like,
but this was in a scale of the United States and Britain.
Yeah, but let's say like a class in a class, there's probably like, let's say like 2 or 3 like the smart kids or something, and a class is like 30 people. Yeah. So that's about 10% of people are really good at stuff. And so you'd say 10% of people that have done martial arts, let's say half of people do martial arts, or let's say 25% of people do martial arts. That's like 1 to 5 in 100. Yeah. And then how many good martial artists can beat a gorilla? I don't know, like 1 in 10 maybe? So I'm going to say 1 in 100 people maybe beat a gorilla.
I'm going to say 1 in 1,000.
Okay. But I think it's actually possible. Yeah. But I'm not sure.
Maybe gorillas aren't very good martial artists.
I've heard that apparently Mike Tyson, there was a gorilla at a zoo that was bullying all the other animals, and Mike Tyson offered to go in and fight it to teach it a lesson, which that could have answered the question. Yeah. Like a good, big martial artist versus a gorilla.
He's also strong punch.
But I think he could have died. Like,
well, so the thing with a gorilla is that gorillas not quite punchy. What gorillas do is they slam their opponents. They like in a case I can't exactly remember, but it was a person observed a big cat attacking a gorilla, and gorillas don't go like grab their fist and punch. Yeah, they don't. Like,
well, they don't need.
Yeah, well,
they don't need that mechanical.
You know the whole thing, like Donkey Kong, like slapping his hands on the ground, or whatever. Like the gorilla literally brought its fist down on the big cat's head, and it ran away. And the person observed is like, it's lucky that it ran away because it just got like hammered in the head by a gorilla.
Yeah, they don't need to punch and whatnot. Mm-hmm. The Hork-Bajor are based on gorillas, aren't they? From Animorphs. Yeah, those like blade creatures that are just vegetarians that are super peaceful, but like built for war. Mm-hmm. Like that's a gorilla, isn't it? Yeah, that's kind of fun. Okay, so then lions. Also, some Americans thought they could beat them.
The 2 lions of whatever.
I think those might have been unusual.
Well, those are outliers among lions. Yeah. Those are like the martial arts of lions.
So there's people that have beat cougars with basically nothing. Yeah, cougars are smaller. Yeah. In most cases. Now lions have the advantage of being cats, I think. I mean, they're probably one of the lesser cat-like cats. Yeah. They're also bigger than people by quite a bit. Yeah. And the man-eating lions of Savos were like 10 feet long or something. Like they're that's like how big is a bear? Like 5 feet long, maybe 6 feet. Like it's just so big, 10 feet long. And depends on the bear, obviously, but
how long is a bear?
Well, like I know like polar bears can be 9 feet tall, right? So these lions were bigger than polar bears. They might have not weighed more, but they were bigger, which is kind of terrifying. But that's the thing. We're comparing some of the biggest lions ever to an average polar bear. Yeah. Like, what's the biggest polar bear ever? And who knows?
Very.
Like it's probably like 12 feet long or something. Although polar bears,
a large male, a Kodiak bear. Yeah. Is over 10 feet tall on its hind legs.
Yeah. Yeah, so, but then if you take a 10-foot long lion and put it on its hind legs, it's like 12 feet tall. Although they can't bend like that, but yeah.
But also, Kodiak, a bear is built like a bear.
Yeah. But that's a Kodiak, right?
Yeah.
So, I guess what I'm saying is the lions of Savos were massive.
Yes.
So you're probably not fighting that.
Um,
You're just fighting an ordinary lion, so you're fine. Now, if you're fighting a male lion, like a lion, the old tooth strategy don't work so well.
Actually, you're wrong in that matter. Only the heads of the group have the mane. It's based on standing. They don't always have manes. Males don't have to have manes. They can actually lose
They're
their
like lobsters.
Yeah.
And Jordan Peterson.
Yes.
Okay, so I don't... You gotta fight the one with the mane, though. Otherwise, you're not fighting a lion.
Sorry, polar bears are really big.
Yeah. You've seen a polar bear.
Yeah, I know.
Well, you were probably really young. But...
Yeah. When you're that young, everything's really big.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember it that well either, actually.
1,700 pounds.
Yeah. Now, did you see the BBC of a polar bear next to a walrus? The polar bear looked like a toy.
Yes.
Walruses are so big.
Could a human beat a walrus?
No. No, there is nothing a human can do.
Yeah.
A human cannot hurt a walrus.
Yeah.
Walruses' skin, not their blood, not their internal organ, their skin is a foot thick.
Like, that's a lot of chewing.
Like, you would get full before you were able to injure the walrus.
You spit it out.
That's wasteful.
Can you imagine eating through with a walrus skin?
Well, exactly, you can't. That's why the human can't hurt a walrus.
Give me a harpoon and we'll see about that.
Even then, like... So that's actually, this is the part where...
No, I'm not talking about a point spear. I'm talking about a harpoon, like the loaded and fires from a cannon gunpowder harpoons.
Even then, you have injured a walrus, like one point of a walrus, right? Like, you know harpoons against whales didn't kill the whale.
Yeah, they attached it to the back.
That was so that you didn't lose the whale.
Yeah.
So, like a walrus, you have to kind of think on a similar scale. They're not as big as a whale, but they're massive. And the thing about a whale is you don't have to worry about it. But walruses can go on land.
You know that whole thing where
there could be a walrus entering the house right now. Just like...
The walrus, like, rose out of the water, and the native guys freaked out and turned the boat around.
That was the demon.
Yeah, but, I mean, it's also a walrus. Like, you're just turning your boat around. The walrus just rose out of the water.
I mean, they're also predators. So,
yeah.
I mean, they eat fish, but, you know, maybe they want to add to their diet.
Yeah. Well, also, like, you've seen, like, that image of, it wasn't even a walrus, but it was a, that, like, those big nose things.
Elephant seal?
Yeah, elephant seal was pissed off with someone's car, and so it decided to start body slamming it.
Yeah. Elephant seals might be bigger, I'm not sure. But they're just not the same, like, level of, like, massive tusks and
bulk.
And sheer, like...
Bulk.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't hurt a walrus.
Yeah.
But that's not on the list, thankfully. However, there's something that's bigger, I think, on the list. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're bigger, which is just...
They're huge.
I just find that so hard to believe. And I'm pretty sure I've seen an elephant before, but I guess it must have been in a way that I wasn't... I don't know why I wouldn't pay attention to something that large. But anyways, well, before the elephant... Actually, okay, we'll go to the biggest one last. So we'll do elephant now, and then we'll do the longest one last. Yeah. Okay, so elephants. Again, similar to the walrus, which wasn't on the list, but there was like 7% of Americans saying unarmed they could kill an elephant. Now, here's the thing. If you want to be fair to an American, as I saw in the comments, actually, an unarmed American is someone that has something like a pistol that's less than 9mm or something. Right. Okay, so let's give the American any hand weapon they want. I don't think they could kill an elephant. Like, give them an elephant gun, and I think most people... If you said, okay, an elephant versus a person with an elephant gun, I think most people would lose that fight.
Yes.
Because you have to know how to use the gun in the first place, and then you have to not hurt yourself using it, and then it has to kill the elephant.
Yeah, let's grade the gun up to anti-tank gun.
I think that's similar to an elephant gun. Elephant guns are like crazy powerful.
Anti-tank guns you can't hold.
Well, I'm not sure if you can hold an elephant gun either. Like, I'm not actually sure. You might have to brace them. But I think they're the same weapon.
Anti-tank guns
go
through uranium plating.
Okay, not a tank. Sorry, I'm thinking a...
Anti-material?
Yeah, like a high-powered sniper rifle.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about a tank gun.
Yeah, but like the sniper rifle that's like 3 times as powerful as a normal sniper rifle, I think is basically the same as an elephant gun.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I'm
No,
talking about
anti-tank. Okay, no. Well, yeah, no. I mean, okay, that would kill an elephant, sure.
Yeah.
Although, if you only wound the elephant,
You're in trouble.
like if you graze it or something, yeah you're in.
Alright, fine. A howitzer.
Yeah, even you can have a howitzer, and I'm still not going to give you 100% odds.
You might miss.
Yeah, or you might only injure it. Like you know how like sometimes fluke chance a person, like a bullet bounces off their skull at just the right angle, or like on the scale of an elephant, I think a howitzer might occasionally not kill them. Like, I'm not sure, but I think there is a world where a howitzer doesn't kill an elephant every time. And, like, you know, it fails to detonate, it detonates late, it detonates early, it grazes, it just, like, doesn't...
Blows off the tail.
Yeah. Or it blows off, like, half the elephant, and then it drags itself towards you, and, like I don't know how intense...
This is not a bison, it's an elephant.
This elephant wants you dead. Like
I think elephants... Actually, no. Right. In To Kill an Elephant, it was on a rampage and you had to keep shooting it.
Yeah, they had...
I guess they do rampage like bison.
Yeah. And they also had the question, how many people would it take to kill an elephant? And they said, like, 10 or 20, I think, on it. Yeah. I think, like, 100, 200, like, naked people versus an elephant. Now, on the other hand... I think there is a world where one-on-one you can kill an elephant. Maybe. But it's kind of crazy. Okay.
You jump up underneath it, grab onto it with your teeth, and just ride its belly?
No, you get tired before it died. No, you have to get onto its back. And you have to tear off its ears, I think, probably. And then
a lot of blood flow go through the ears.
And then start, like, chewing on its back and just leave holes everywhere.
Like you do with a grizzly bear.
And then... I think you have to get off the elephant and then just run away for like a day or something. So you would need like perfect terrain. Yeah. You need the elephant because elephants
are fast. They dodge quickly to the sides.
They're also the smartest thing on this list.
Yes,
I think. Yeah.
Even on your back, you have to be careful. It can grab you.
Yeah, well, they've got a trunk. They can grab you, but also they're smart. They can. Well, roll over.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if they can or not, but
elephants.
They could run into a tree or something.
How elephants?
They could pick up a tree and hit you with it.
Well, so lions, zebras, and giraffes are all things that annoy elephants, and how they deal with them is they pick up a log and throw them at all those animals to say go away.
That's the thing about elephants, right? Any animal that can pick up a tree, you do not want to fight.
Yes, pick up a tree with its nose.
Now, Hafthor Bjornsson actually...
Can pick up a tree.
He picked a ship's mast, which is a tree,
Mm-hmm.
But he was able to do it for like 20 steps or something. An elephant could carry the tree around.
Yeah.
But, could Hafthor be... No. So I don't know what you do about the trunk. Like, you have to tear the trunk... You can't.
You just have to avoid them.
I don't think their trunks...
They're not that fast.
Well, and I also don't think they're like... They're not a hand, right? Like,
no.
So I don't think... They're probably more like a horse's mouth, like its lips, where it could grab you, but you could probably break its grip.
Yeah.
Now, it could probably just bludgeon you with the trunk itself, but elephants are also very long. So if you if you tear off its ears, put a bunch of bite marks in its neck, and then crawl to its rear, and then just hang onto the tail...
Just start chewing away at its rear end.
Yeah, and you just like try to hang on as long as possible.
Yeah. And
then once you get tired, you jump down and run away for like a day.
Yeah.
Maybe. But that might just like injure it.
Yeah.
Like,
well, you wait for it to die from whatever mange you gave it from your mouth.
Yeah.
You wait to die from whatever mange its skin gave your mouth.
Like, you just have to like... The thing is, too, it probably needs less... It probably needs to eat less often than you do, right? Because I imagine they have slower metabolisms.
You go the monkey route. And you bite it and stuff, and then you poop in the wound.
Yeah. I'm not even sure that would work, because... I mean, the time it would take to get infected, first of all. But also, I don't know if the diseases would transfer between species.
Yeah.
And... Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I really don't like. That is my like theoretical. It's kind of like your bear scenario.
Yeah.
Although I think you have better odds with my okay. So this, I think what I said against an elephant makes slightly more sense.
Yes.
Because I don't think a bear, you can actually avoid its attacks.
Yeah.
However, I think that if a bear, let's say, was paralyzed somehow,
Yeah.
you could kill it like with your bare hands. Even a paralyzed elephant, I'm not actually sure you can kill with your bare hands. Like,
Yeah.
they're just that big and strong. Yeah, elephant's ridiculous. And then the final one on the list was an alligator, which again, about 7% of Americans said they could beat. Which,
I'd give myself more chance beating alligator than elephant.
yeah, I would too. But alligators can be longer, so
Yeah.
or no, crocodile. I don't know. Anyway, crocodiles can be longer. But anyways, yeah, I think an elephant's the hardest one on that list to beat, definitely. But an alligator,
Well, is the alligator in the water?
no,
Well, then it's screwed.
no, it's not, right? Because it probably can't kill you, right?
After you kill it.
But you can't kill it. And if you keep punching it and hurting your hand, eventually it'll succeed on biting you and then you're dead.
I was thinking you just dance around on its back.
And do what? Like irritate it?
I don't know. You like jump up and down.
Will that even annoy it? We've seen them. They just sit there. They don't care.
What did? Because that was crocodiles, wasn't it? Like he wrestled crocodiles, Crocodile Hunter.
Yeah. But, I mean, it's similar. It's just there's... He wasn't killing them.
Yeah, but he didn't go the extra step.
But there is no extra step. It's like...
You tear out one of its teeth and stab it with it.
It's like a pangolin, right? A pangolin can't kill you in a fight, but you can't hurt it. Like, I guess you could pick it up and throw it off a cliff, but
Yeah.
like,
Do what eagles do to turtles.
yeah, just pick them up and drop them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like fighting a turtle. Like, you can't hurt a crocodile. Like, I don't think they have quite the same skin as like a Komodo dragon,
Yeah.
but I'm not sure. Maybe they do. And
Try to make it overheat or make it get too cold.
just you just hug it and then
No, that your temperatures are ideal for them. Like I'm thinking, like wick away heat, so there's no water nearby.
Yeah.
So like you
lick it a bunch. And
Yeah.
and let the evaporation take away all its heat.
yeah, like giving it a heart attack is I think you absolutely the way for a human to kill alligators to give it a heart attack.
Boo. Boo. One suggestion I saw was you punch out its tooth and then you use
That's
the
what I was saying.
But it's like that is its what? Okay, two things. Its tail. I don't know how strong they can move their tail, but theoretically could kill you with its tail. I don't know. Like iguanas can do that.
Yeah.
So you think like it's just a big iguana, right?
No,
Iguanas can also claw you, but I don't think alligators really. I don't know.
they've got claws, but they don't have the motion. Alligators like range of motion with their legs. So it's literally like
Yeah. Well, I don't like. Is it though, or is it the fact that they don't need it because they can drown things normally?
yeah.
Maybe they can actually fight, like, but they just don't because they don't. They would rather drown.
So giant river otters
Yeah.
kill caimans.
Right. I think a person might be able to kill a caiman though.
Yeah.
That's like 6-foot animal, not a 21-foot or whatever they can get to.
Yeah, so, but maybe you do have enough bite force to, like...
I don't know. And like, they can also, they're not fast runners, but they're not slow animals.
If you... I know they're really, really, really heavy. But if you flip it over, can it flip itself back up again?
Yeah, like I think like
Well, they roll underwater.
yeah, but in shallow water too.
Yeah.
So they're not like unmaneuverable animals.
Yeah.
They're just not like runners.
Oh, no, that idea just went out the window. I was like, maybe you wait for it to starve, but then I remembered, like, they go months.
Well, yeah, they're a amphibian, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like so the biting thing is kind of like I think if you got on its back to bite it, it could just like twist and like knock you off and then jump on you or bite. So I just
You just wait for it to be really hot outside, and then...
like you can't even wait for it to die of old age.
Okay, Cameron, I can beat this alligator, right?
Yeah.
So, wait about 4 months,
Yeah.
and then me and this alligator will go... I'll be naked, it'll be naked, and we'll be outside.
Yeah.
I think I'll win.
Hmm?
Yeah. I won't be happy, but I'll win. Because it'll be about minus 30 outside. It'll die. I'll get really bad frostbite, but I'll win. I think I can out-endure it in cold weather.
I wonder. Like, reptiles don't like cold weather, obviously, but does it affect them as fast as a mammal?
Way faster.
And
I had to worry about... I mean, Salazar's a small little list, but I had to worry about him dying when the power went out. Like, Jonas said, it's scary if the power goes out and he gets home and, like, the lamp's not on him and it's, like, even just 0 in the room.
yeah, but if you're both taking... Because 0 degrees isn't deadly to a human exactly. I mean, it is eventually, but if you're both already in a temperature that's deadly from that instant, I wonder if they would actually be...
Humans in minus 20 can, like, last 4 hours.
But, like, minus 40, like...
Well, if we're going to minus 40, it's going to drop faster than me.
I just wonder if they would be... Like, you know how frogs can freeze solid? And then I wonder if a crocodile can.
I don't think so. I think it's too complicated.
And then... so another way you could potentially kill a crocodile, I guess, is you could jump down its throat and then, like, choke it to death. Like, if you tried to force it to swallow you whole rather than, like, take bites out of you, and then you hope that it dies before you hope it suffocates before you do, although they're pretty good at holding their breath. But you, like, try to, like, wedge yourself in it and somehow be able to breathe. And that seems unlikely.
Okay. Now, how do you feel against a giant river otter? That was not on the list.
I think I could beat one not in a river. I think it'd be similar to fighting like a I wouldn't want to fight a small weasel.
Giant.
Oh, they're big, right?
River.
Like they're like 5 feet or something, right? Like they're unreasonably large for a
1.7 meters long, 24 kilograms in weight.
Oh, why are they so light?
Uh,
So they're
I want one of the psycho pictures of them.
so they're about 5 feet long. 6 feet. 1.7 is 6 feet. Yeah.
Maybe it's giant Amazon. Yeah, Amazon river otter. That's it. Those are the scary ones.
Why are they so light? Weird.
Because they're just a weasel.
Mm.
Yeah, but like one of these nutcases with those teeth.
And that's the thing. You look at a picture and you're like, yeah, whatever. But then it's like 6 feet long, and you're like, oh.
There's some like really. I mean, they
Like the scale of animals in person
yeah
is sometimes amazing.
Also, they kill panthers.
Like, yeah, that's spooky. But they drown them, right?
No, they bite them. The thing about giant river otters.
No, I mean like, they're not going to go into the middle.
They're
of
not
the
going to
jungle.
climb trees. No, they fight them when they're in the water.
Yeah, they're not going to like go into the middle of the jungle, climb a tree, and like attack a panther.
Yeah, or they drag them into the water and then fight them. The thing about giant river otters though is they fight in packs of like 12.
Yeah, so it's similar to a wolf, where
Yeah, they're giant water homicide weasels.
so it's kind of weird. The
Would you rather fight a wolverine or a bear?
a wolverine. It depends. If it's to the death, a wolverine.
Yeah.
If it's not to the death, a bear.
Yeah.
Because a wolverine isn't that big, but they're not going to give up.
Yes.
And I think a wolverine could probably kill a person a decent times out. Like,
Well, I mean, like I say, a wolverine killed a polar bear.
yeah.
And wolverines are part of a family of animals that there's these tiny little weasels. Like, these weasels are about this, like a foot long. And you know the biggest of rabbits?
Yeah.
They hunt those rabbits. So, like, a foot long weasel hunts, like, 3 foot long rabbits.
Yeah. Wolverines, well, muscelids,
Yeah.
were busy, I don't know, like, eating insects and honey when fear was getting handed out to the rest of the animal kingdom.
Yes.
There's but they're not that big. So in a fight to the death, I'd rather fight one of them.
Yeah.
But like they're about the size of a raven, weirdly.
Yeah.
Apparently, because you saw that video, eh? Of the raven and the wolverine working together to hunt a hare, which is also very. The scale. Yeah. Again, just like it's weird how big some animals are.
Yeah.
Like I think if I saw a lion, I would be kind of
Freaked out.
yeah.
Well, even when you see a really big dog, or, I mean, the horses, when they're here, they're big.
Horses are big.
They're really big. And that was that a Shire horse, or... No, it's just a
Just big horse.
cart horse, or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
It was huge.
Yeah. But it's weird because you think of like a deer or something. You're like, yeah, okay, that's whatever sized animal. But even when you get close to a deer, it's pretty big. But I once thought I saw a cougar. It wasn't a cougar. It was a deer. But because they'd be about the same size as like a small deer.
Yeah.
And just seeing it as a cougar instead of a deer.
Yeah.
And it not being too far away. Like I didn't see a cougar, right? But just the thought of a predator that large was like activated something in me of like, I'm dead. Like I just thought like it's over. Like you just sort of give up. It's like, whoa. That's
just not very Scottish of you.
It was just like this instant of like,
Karen, that instant, if you were True McClellan, that instant would be you have screamed and charged it, pulling out your claymore.
Yeah, that's why they're all dead.
Yes.
No. Well, like if you see a bear while you're hiking, which I haven't actually.
I've seen them all driving.
Yeah, I don't think I've actually run into like I think I've run into a lot of signs of them and sounds of them.
Yeah.
But they tend to avoid people, and you can also tend to avoid them.
A car makes you feel a lot bigger.
But still, you see a bear.
Yeah.
I've run into moose before.
Yeah, I've seen bear out the window of this house too.
I've run into moose at a distance, but still I've seen moose. And that is actually, I think a moose is scarier than a bear, anyways.
Oh yeah.
But you see a bear, and it's pretty like they're not actually like they're big, right? But they're not actually like giant creatures.
No.
They're not like an elephant or something. But there's still, it's like, whoa, that thing's big. That's scary.
Yeah.
Because people tend to be taller than everything else.
Yes, and we're also upright, whereas a bear is usually going to be walking on its four legs, so it's like a huddled over little tank puttering along.
But then bears actually are bigger than people.
Yeah, well, I mean, think about like a person crawling about. They look a lot smaller than a person standing.
Yeah.
So a bear crawling about.
Yeah. So bears, when they're walking on all four legs, like they're like maybe 4 feet tall. They're not like massive.
Depends on the bear, but yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, they are big animals.
Yeah.
But they're not tall animals unless they're standing up.
Yes.
But you just see a bear walking around on all four legs, and you're like, oh, that's whatever. Mm-hmm. But then, like, a horse or something is just so much bigger than a bear.
Yeah. And
you see a horse and you think, I can't hurt this thing. Like, it is so big, there's nothing you can do against a horse.
Bite it.
And then you scale it up to something even bigger than a horse, like an elephant, and it's kind of impossible to comprehend actually interacting with it. And then you think of like a blue whale, and you're like, how does something that big exist on Earth? It's amazing.
Back to the matter of horses, do you know how people, when they still ate horses, used to hunt them?
You ride a horse to it.
You jump on its back and ride it.
Oh.
And then it dies because you're on its back and it's trying to run away from you.
And so then one day someone was like, they're just riding it, and their buddy's riding another horse that they're going to eat, and they're like, I just had a thought. Yeah, what if we don't eat this? What? Why wouldn't we eat the horse? Well, okay, here's a great thought. Right. Okay, we're moving like 40 kilometers an hour, right? Yeah. Isn't that cool? So you're saying we don't eat the horse, and then we jump on it tomorrow, and you're a genius.
Oh no, maybe that happened.
Yeah, maybe. And then they're like, wait a minute, this thing is strong, like stronger than anything else in the, like, this is one of the strongest animals on Earth. What if we just made it do all our work?
What if you bred the strong ones together and make even stronger ones?
This is genius. Actually, horses are, I'm really fascinated by human perception of animals, or maybe it's just my own perception, because I'm biased, obviously, and I also think that everyone thinks like me to a degree, but I think there's something of like, well, people they're not very good at smelling, or they're not very fast or something, but that's because I think we have dogs, which are some of the best smellers and some of
dogs
the best
make
runners.
Up for our weaknesses.
But I don't think they're weaknesses.
Or sorry, dogs fill a niche that's they're better at than us.
Well, they're not filling a niche, they're just better. Like I think dogs are just one of the rare animals that are then you say people aren't that good at seeing when you compare it to an eagle or something. But for a primate, there's like nothing better than a human, I think.
Well, humans are amazing at seeing.
Like we're decent for like a bird, I think.
Yeah.
Like we've got really good eyesight.
Well, you know prairie dogs, how they have to like stand up to look around. We're doing that always. Like there's the one of the theories of why humans and dogs work together is literally two packs, a pack of humans, a pack of dogs, are basically going after the same kill. It worked out. And then the dogs are basically a group, and the humans can stand up and see everything. And then the humans go, that over there, and the dog's like, oh, that over there, okay.
And they're fast enough to get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I find interesting about humans is... Well, not human, about animal comparisons is... The animals that are closest to us, I think, warp our perception of other animals.
Yeah.
Because I was...
Like a rabbit, you're stronger than a rabbit.
Well, I was thinking of this idea of... I can't remember what it was, but I was wondering, like... why don't dogs sweat or something like that? I can't remember what it was. And it was something about animals sweating anyways. And I was like, okay, maybe animals don't sweat. And I was like, well, let me think. Like, you know, a good way to test a theory is to just think of a couple examples that prove you wrong. And if you can't think of anything that proves you wrong, then you might actually have a case. So I was like, okay, maybe animals don't sweat. And I was like, wait, no, horses sweat. So it's like, duh, whatever. Okay, so animals all sweat. It's just dogs are unusual. But then I looked it up and it's like, yeah, basically no animals sweat except for humans and horses.
And there's a really big difference between humans sweating and horses sweating. See, humans, no matter how much they sweat, blood won't start coming out. Horses...
Well, if they're stressed enough.
Okay, but horses will sweat blood and then die.
Yeah, Jesus was famous for sweating blood.
He got stabbed.
No. People in high-stress situations will sweat blood.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So when horses are running like that, they're really stressed?
Maybe. I mean, it might be a different mechanism, but...
Yeah.
But yeah, people can sweat blood.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so it's just like, oh, so I was totally wrong there. Horses are just the exception.
Hippos sweat too.
Oh.
They sweat purple though.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, no, they're weird. They're really weird.
They're also a horse-sized predator-ish animal.
That have a really interesting way of pooping.
Are they actually predators, though?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
They're omnivores.
Yeah.
They eat fish and alligators and people.
Anything that can fit in their mouth.
And a coconut.
And a coconut. They had all those things in their mouth at once. It's like, no.
No, there's... Where hippos are, there is no predator above them.
Yeah. Well, people.
They're on the same level.
Yeah, but a person could hunt a hippo.
And hippo can hunt. I'm saying there's no predator above them. They're on the same level.
Well, like if you're in a helicopter with like a minigun.
Okay.
And then, you just like strafe the river.
Yeah, but then the hippos in their helicopters come after you.
Hippos aren't like pikes or something. Like they're not. They don't have like some sort of swim through the air capabilities. Yeah.
Speaking of different fighting, I learned about something very interesting. So you've talked about this before, difference between man and women punching. So, apparently in the MMA world, like, it's a very small niche, like being in mixed martial arts. And like getting into a fight is actually like quite rare, like actually having two people fight each other. And apparently, there's even a smaller niche of women in MMA. And so they're willing to fight 3 to 4 weight classes above or below just to get a fight. So there's not many women fighters out there, which...
They're all dead.
Well, no.
You're willing to fight 4 weight classes up. I mean...
Yeah.
I wonder what the equivalent of... Like, how many weight classes up, right? Let's say 4 weight classes up.
Yeah.
Versus a man of the same weight class. I wonder what the...
Well,
like, is it one...
So there was a very recent fight, this what I want to talk about, of a woman agreed to fight a trans woman. And so she was a lot better fighter. The person was an ex-Marine. She was taller, but in body build, the trans fighter was a lot shorter.
Yeah.
But way broader.
Yeah.
So they're kind of built like Peter Joe in a way. Like it's that very strong. And she like was throwing punches. She was like landing hits. She was like dodging a lot of things. And the trans fighter landed about 3 punches. And after the first punch that connected with the head, like there was a few volleyballs, but one punch is connected with the head, the female fighter like backed away, like raised up her arm, and she looked to the judge for a second, was like, no, okay, I'm okay. And so she like got punched, like it hit very hard. Then the second round, the trans fighter changed tactics and went for a grapple, started choking them out, and they tapped out of the fight. And after they tapped out of the fight, she started vomiting blood.
Oh.
And so I was watching a fight out. A guy was talking about this, and he's saying there's 2 reasons a human will vomit blood. One of them is you're dead.
Yeah.
You've gone hit and blood's filling up your stomach, and you have like such a nasty wound that you're going to die or in your lungs.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen through punches.
Yeah.
Usually. The other reason is you've gone hit in the head.
Yeah.
And your sinuses are ruptured. And when your sinuses are ruptured, the blood flows down into your stomach.
Yeah.
And then you vomit it up.
Right.
And he's saying, so usually when your sinuses are ruptured, you also have your skull fractured. And he's saying, I've had that happen to me. He got punched by a guy who loaded his glove.
Yeah.
So athlete tape?
Yeah.
It's basically like if your arm's broken, you wrap an athlete tape. It's like a rocks around there.
Yeah.
So the guy's rapping, he put athlete tape and then he punched him in the head and like broke his skull. But so she got punched in the head by this trans person and it ruptured her sinuses, so she's bleeding out there and it's like nasty, like a lot of blood.
Yeah.
And was it the other person like fractured someone's skull in the fight? So in women's martial arts, they rarely fracture each other's skulls. They rarely break bones. Like breaking a nose happens, but like skull fractures don't happen all that often. In men's fighting, skull fractures happen and can happen multiple times. In women's martial arts, like MMA, in between 2 of them, they've never sustained an injury that has been crippling to the point of like unrecoverable. Men versus men, that happens all the time.
There's a interesting book series or book, I can't remember. I didn't read the whole thing because I didn't actually like it, but I like the idea. It's about this nuclear power plant opens a portal between an alternate dimension of Earth where Neanderthals outlived humans. And the Neanderthal society forbids all violence because if a Neanderthal punches another Neanderthal, they will kill them. And so it's the same idea.
Yeah, well,
kind of neat.
Also,
it's probably similar to a gorilla, really.
In abuse victims, so domestic abuse where men hit women, fractured skulls is very common. Whereas in abuse victims,
or women hit men,
that doesn't happen.
Right.
They don't hit with enough force to fracture skull. And in cases where it's 2 women in abusive relationships and they hit each other, skull fractures don't happen. When 2 men have abusive, although that's the least abusive, men do fracture each other's skulls, but it's not as often. And so bone structure, men have thicker skulls than women. Like they have more bone, and the structure can take hits better.
Yeah.
They're boneheaded.
Yeah.
But also, so when you were talking about like the different strengths between men and women, so men punch 168% stronger than women.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they hit a lot harder.
But it sounds like I should add +1 severity as well to the old hit.
Yeah, but so
just damage.
So this guy was talking about this one interesting concept where it's like, so why don't we have, because it's like it's happened 3 times where women have gone seriously injured fighting a trans athlete.
Yeah.
It's like, why don't we have like trans women fight each other? And he's saying, well, trans women are even rarer than women. There has been 3 trans MMA fighters and 2 of them are retired.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have anyone to fight. And so they're so desperate, the women are so desperate, it's like, okay, I'll fight a man. Okay, I'll fight this trans athlete.
So it's interesting that there's like this, obviously a threshold of skull breakage, basically.
Yeah.
That women probably come right up against but don't cross. Yeah. And then men just have that little bit extra to cross, which is...
And usually the skull fracture, so there's 2 points where skull fracture usually happens is in the occipital bone area, so like getting punched in the eye.
Yeah.
And getting hit in the side of the head. So that's where they happen more common, like at the temple. But it can be getting hit in the top of the head. Like anywhere in the head can get broken by a human punch.
So now imagine like Chuck Norris versus a gorilla. So first of all, Chuck Norris lands like 20 blows. The gorilla doesn't feel them, and then it hits him once. And like so, maybe we give the gorilla slightly better odds than we did even.
Yeah,
because I think it's
because they have even thicker skulls than us.
Yeah, and I think it's comparable in the sense that they're like men aren't much bigger than women.
Yeah,
like really, like 10%. It's 8% bigger.
Yeah.
I was looking at the statistics recently, so men are about 8% taller, and they're probably slightly more than 8%, like probably closer to 10 or 20% heavier. But a gorilla is like twice the size of a person.
Also, watched a video after like going through this of so it was a female instructor.
Yeah.
And like black belt MMA, had a bunch of students, and this guy was basically there for the demonstration. And he was being unhelpful, as in he didn't let her throw him. However, so the scale size, just another point, of course, is so she's like 5 feet tall, so she's like below average in height. And this man was like 6'4" or 6'5" or something. So he was like a ogre of a man. And so she was trying to throw him, and it wasn't working. And she basically like, oh, come here, let me throw you. So she'll like, oh, even a tiny woman like me can like throw this giant man. And then he did something, which is so she was grabbing onto his arm, and he grabbed onto her wrist, and he lifted her with one arm by her wrist. And he just had the like big grin over his face. And so it wasn't them, but I watched a different video of a sparring match, and it was like slightly closer sizes. But the woman was punching the man over and over and over again. And he had kind of this nervous look on his face of like he didn't want to punch her back. And so he his way of fighting her, it looked super awkward. He was open-handedly slapping her. And like those hits were rocking her. And he's just like taking nothing. Like they're both trained martial artists, but he's just like, he looked so scared of actually throwing a blow that could hurt her.
And yet, you've got 8% of Americans saying they could beat a gorilla.
Yes. And that's level scale within human dimorphism.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I don't think, with the case of the trans thing,
yeah.
I mean, she accepted the fight. Maybe she should know better.
Yeah.
And also, there's not really a solution to it other than stopping MMA, because the thing is, someday the Michael Phelps of boxing will come along.
They exist.
There will be a woman who has 168% harder punch than normal women, and
her shoulder back muscle has something going on in it that's just different.
And she'll just like
kill someone with a punch,
break the skull of everyone she fights against. I mean, that happened in football, sort of. Yeah. There was that what is it called? The guy that protects the quarterback. Oh no, he invented that role.
Yeah.
He was just a normal player.
He's a linebacker. But
he nearly killed a guy just because he was so strong. He grabbed him and then threw him backwards.
Yeah.
Because he was just a freak of nature, like Andre the Giant.
What's his name? Okay, I remember his title, which is the Hammer. He's a British boxer, and so this wasn't British boxing, but he was on different league. He was the world champion of boxing back at the time, and people were like, "Oh, boxing has come along further."
Oh, is he the guy with the picture that's like,
yes,
with the big mustache?
Yes.
Yeah.
So people were like, boxing has come along further. There's people who can hit harder, like Mike Tyson's super hard hitting. There was that one boxer who would have like a row of people stand trying to brace, and he'd punch them and send all of them flying. So like times have come along differently. And British boxing had different rules. But in British boxing, this man almost killed 3 people. And this was in like old British boxing, which the rules make it really, really hard to even hurt people. Like those matches lasted for like 20 rounds and both participants were tired. But against him, they lasted about 3 rounds. And you wouldn't hit him because his reach was longer than any other human that he went against. And so one of his feats, like, you know, the big showcase feats, is a wine barrel. He'd like wear a tough glove, but he would punch a hole through a wine barrel. Was one of his feats. It'd be an emptied wine barrel, so it made it easier. But it's like, he could punch a hole through a wine barrel. Like, that man was different level of human when it came to punching. And there's Cannonball whatever. That guy who would literally have a cannon shoot him in the gut. And he would take it.
Oh.
And like, it wasn't a fully loaded cannon. But still, like, he'd have multiple people punch him in the stomach. He would lie down, have a board across his stomach, and he'd have people jump up and down on the board. And he wasn't like that other guy who, like, died from, like, internal injuries. Like, throughout his whole career of doing this for, like, 20 years as a performer.
Houdini?
He was fine, the guy who could take cannonballs to the gut. Like, and that, like, you can train up for that, sure, and, like, you can have, like, a bit of fat, and you maybe could be wearing a metal vest underneath. I don't know. But, like, that's a different level of person taking, like, cannonballs to the gut.
Yeah. Yeah, there's just Michael Phelps of the world out there.
Yeah.
And Hafthor Bjornsson.
Yeah.
And...
like, maybe he could take a... like, Andre the Giant. Maybe Andre could take a gorilla.
Yeah, if any person in human history could take a gorilla, I'd probably bet on Andre.
Yeah. Imagine if Andre trained.
Or would I, like... I'm kind of curious what a sumo wrestler... how they compare to, like... because they're kind of weird.
It's a sport, not a wrestle.
Yeah, but it's odd that, like, you know, like the strongman contest, like Mr. Universe. Mm-hmm. Why wasn't Andre the Giant Mr. Universe? It's kind of weird. That
probably because he just didn't enter. Like, he had a good sense of fairness.
And how come...
like, there's a reason why he was in the wrestling that was scripted.
Yeah. And how come, like, Hafthor Bjornsson is the only guy since whatever his name was, Ivar Halfmast or whatever it was, to lift a mast? Like, it wasn't half-mast, that'd be silly. But how come Hafthor Bjornsson's the only guy since that Viking to be able to lift a tree? Like, surely someone would come along like Andre and...
have you seen one of the other strength things that... oh, actually, this is interesting. One of the other strength things that Hafthor did, so he did it with someone else who's very strong. But so, I can't remember where it is, but it's basically a challenge. There's these boulders of different sizes, and you pick them up and you walk around a rock, and then you put them down again. And like different sizes. And one of the big problems, like, you have to chalk up your hands because you're picking up a boulder and they're hard to carry. So Hafthor had an invention of carrying them. However, the guy who was pointing them out to them, he was saying, so this was invented by a farmer, and the farmer had to start moving stones to build walls and stuff. And so a farmer was like had to set this thing up in the first place. So there's a guy who was moving stones on level of Bjorn's son, who's just some farmer.
Well, I think if you're looking at history and we're trying to figure out who the strongest people ever were.
Yeah.
One is potentially that Viking dude.
Yeah.
Because he...
picked up a mast.
Yeah. And then there's I think he was a Greek guy who was a farmer.
Yeah.
Who, he's just known for picking up a big rock.
Well, so on the thing, farmer. So, you know, Ultimate Ninja Warrior Challenge, wherever. So they have that run, and a lot of it is upper body strength.
Yeah.
So, one of the athletes who did insanely well was a farmer and a golf player. And so, golf is quick bursts of strength, very useful. And a farmer, he just had very strong, long arms. And so he, like, sure, he trained a bit for, like, the ninja challenge, but, like, there's these other people, like, they're going through a thing, and they're, like, strong acrobatic. And then you see this guy, and he's, like, on the arm thing, he's like, it's not even an effort for him, he's literally just, like...
Well, it's funny, a lot of those TV shows with, like, the super, like, hardcore dude, like, they're sending, like, martial artists and bodybuilders to do these things. Yeah. Which is very hard for... a martial artist, bodybuilder, police officer type person to do. Yeah. But like a rock climber, it's like the easiest thing. Yeah. And it's not like rock climbers are stronger. It's they're probably weaker in most cases. It's just a body type. Well, like a martial artist or a bodybuilder has a much harder time doing upper body strength type activities.
And even with that, so I'm going to use Hafthor Bjorn's son for this example. If you had an English longbow expert, and you gave Bjorn's son a longbow, like, he would probably, he would probably have a bit of trouble with them. Like, he's so big that he could probably manage it. but like it's different muscles in your back, and there's technique to it and stuff like. Even better example is the Japanese longbow. Those things are a nightmare to draw. Like it's about 50% skill, 50% strength to draw those stupid bows.
I wonder,
and like it just requires entirely different muscles in your back.
Like a recurve bow isn't that hard to draw, right? And I wonder, technically, if Halfthor wouldn't actually have an issue with a longbow.
Oh, because it's just a recurve size.
Yeah, because he's so tall.
Yeah, well then maybe the Japanese longbow.
Yeah,
because those things are stupid.
But he could probably lift one of those up, because they rest on the ground, right? I think.
No.
No.
They're like at your foot though.
Okay, but I wonder if he could just, or like, now here's the question: like, could I don't know, pick like Floyd Mayweather, let's say, like a smaller. I don't think he's actually a small guy, but smaller relative to like a big athlete. Could, like him against like Robert, what's his name, Oswald or whatever, the tallest man ever. Like just in a little boxing match, like Robert Oswald. If you've seen him, he's very skinny, man.
Yes,
but he's also 8'11" or something.
Oi, no below the belt.
It's like jumping. Yeah, so like, I'm kind of curious, like, at what point, like, if you're a frail giant versus like a stocky, like,
I mean, imagine Robert Oswald, right?
Yeah.
In like the Olympic swimming, like everyone like diving in the water, and he just falls over with his arms outstretched, and it's like, who can he fall faster than they can swim across the?
Yeah. It's fun. Oh man, I was gonna talk about aliens. We'll have to do that next time.
Aliens,
because my voice is yeah, it's just fun to talk about animals.
Yeah, punching animals in the face.
Yeah.